Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and always a delight and very timely to have back with us today Megan Barth. She is the founder and the proprietor of ReaganBaby.com. She does a lot of commentaries and writings and appearances, and what a delight to have her with us today here on Focus Today. Hi, Megan. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me back.
Yes, very timely. Did you watch the mess last night?
Of course I did.
Let me give you my thought, and I don't want to hog your time. I'm just curious to see if I'm kind of in or out of the thinking here. The real loser was CNBC. Another loser, I think, was the United States. It was embarrassment to the world last night that this is what we're doing over here. The candidate losers would have been Kasich, Bush, Paul, Christie. The winners would have been Rubio, Cruz, Carson, Huckabee, Fiorina, and Trump. What do you think?
I would only disagree with you on one point that I thought Christie actually did a great job. I necessarily wouldn't put him in a loser category. I thought he held his own, and I thought he commanded the stage and tried to put the debate on track, much like Cruz did. If you kind of watched the audience or listened to the audience, the three biggest rounds of applause actually were dedicated to Cruz, Christie, and Rubio. And specifically because they owned the debate, they owned the moderators, they checked the moderators, a hockey term I like to use, gave them a good check. And they also gave a good hard check to their enemy, their proclaimed enemy, Hillary Clinton, who proclaimed last week in the Democrat debate in Las Vegas, which I was at, that the Republican Party are enemies of hers, much like Iran.
Wow. Well, CNBC, what can you say?
Well, it really put the nail in the coffin for anyone that was questioning whether or not the mainstream media was biased and whether or not they were carrying the water for the Democrat Party. CNBC made that crystal clear that that is their objective and their motive. It's not the questions that were asked. It's how the questions are asked. The questions were so loaded on the front end, already disparaging the candidates and putting them on the defensive, much like Cruz had pointed out to resounding applause. Each of the moderators seemed to have, I guess a bias, really, is all you can say. Specifically, the woman, Becky Quick. As a woman, I was insulted by her line of questioning, specifically when it came to her statement, "What are you going to do for us?" Meaning us as women. Again, portraying women as the victims of not Barack Obama, not Hillary Clinton, of America, I guess. I guess we're all born into victimhood. And so all of the questions outside of that one, if you were paying attention, we're asking, how is government going to get larger in order to save us? Shouldn't government be involved in every single facet of our lives, including fantasy football?
That was good. That was good. Okay, now it appears that Trump did okay, and Carson held his own. I mean, there wasn't any big moments for either one of them, and there weren't any down moments, but they didn't seem to have any bell ringers like Cruz did or Rubio did.
No, but I didn't expect. I was talking on a show prior to the debate yesterday, and I was really hoping that Carson would kind of break out of his. I mean, he is polling first in the polls, and Trump is polling second. So there was really no motivation for them to take risks, right? They're pretty safe where they are right now. However, I was looking for Carson to take a little bit more risk. I think his shining moment really came early on in the debate when he was asked about being on the board of Costco, which is the most, rated one of the most gay or homosexual friendly places to work. And his response was brilliant. His response was, "I believe in marriage between a man and a woman," and I'm paraphrasing here. "I believe in a marriage between a man and a woman, but that does not make me a homophobe." And I think if he uses his Christianity to his benefit, as he has, to dispel the narrative that Christians are bigots, homophobes, racists, and sexists, the better off as Christians we will all be. The narrative of the MSM is to always castigate, as they did each of those candidates, in a negative light. And we need to own the narrative, take back the narrative, and explain why conservative principles are truly the liberating principles by which each individual can thrive. The Democrats always shock me. I was at the debate last week, and I was talking through Periscope live TV to the attendees. I thought, okay, well, I can't get a press pass because I'm not Slate, Vox, or Mother Jones. So I'm just going to wander the halls and talk to the candidate's supporters. And my eyes were quite opened. And the Democrats never have a problem spending other people's money when it comes to the growth of government. But the Democrats have a huge problem when it comes to spending money, say, on the Benghazi hearing, which last week was such a disgusting display of lies. And it was such a disgusting display by the MSM, who I write on Reagan Baby. It's my latest post, Perry, and it was up last night about 10 o'clock PST. Hillary lied and people died. The MSM, after that, proclaimed Hillary won as though she were in a competition. She was in a hearing. She was an investigative hearing, a hearing specifically designed to get the truth related to a terrorist attack that left 4 dead Americans in its wake. And instead, the MSM decided that they learned nothing new, that Hillary was a winner. They even commented on the fact of how she looked. Her hair looked great. Her lipstick was nice. And I was appalled because I learned a lot from that hearing. I learned that Christopher Stevens sent 600 requests for help, and every single one of those requests were ignored. It frightens me that we do have an MSM so in the tank for Hillary that will do anything to carry her water along with the Democrat Party and Barack Obama. It also frightens me that there are many in the public that choose to ignore the truth.
A couple of other things came out of that hearing, Megan, that were really eye-opening, and that was within hours, and actually while the attack was still going on in Benghazi, she was texting her daughter and the leader of Egypt saying, we know that it's not a video, that this is a terrorist attack, and yet they still went out and propagated the video. A bald-faced lie. So where's the outrage? And the other question I would have on this, what can this committee do? I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to write a scathing report. Does it do anything?
Well, it may or may not. And I also mentioned that in my piece about the other profound lie, which this is the disdain by which Hillary Clinton has for everyday Americans, where she doesn't even trust us enough to handle the truth. She doesn't even give the truth to the victims' families. Patricia Smith was on CNN twice last week, and she's still waiting for the reasons and the cause of the death of her son. And to this day, a week later after the Benghazi hearings, she doesn't have it. She may never have it. The only hope, I guess, that we can rely on is that the FBI truly is impartial. We do know that the DOJ is not impartial. I call it the Department of Injustice, specifically after they completely dismissed any and all charges against Lois Lerner and potentially Elijah Cummings last week, Friday. That was the Friday document dump. So unless Hillary and the FBI, unless the FBI uncovers something on Hillary related to her breach of confidential information, then Hillary will be the nom of the Democrat Party. And they are going to have to, if the Republican Party candidates are smart, which I saw a few smart ones on the stage last night. Like I said, Hillary declared the Republican Party their enemy. And so all of the ammunition and all of the focus needs to be on the enemy, which is Hillary Clinton. And she is going to have to answer to all of the lies that she continues to spin And the MSM is going to have to answer to all the lies they continue to cover.
All right, let me take a break here, Megan. When we come back, just within the last 15, 20 minutes, Paul Ryan now has won the election of the speakership in the U.S. House of Representatives on the heels of every candidate last night saying that the budget bill is a buster and they didn't like it. And yet was the Freedom Caucus forced today to compromise in voting for Ryan because he said he was going to vote for the budget deal. I want your comments on that when we come back with Megan Barth. And by the way, ReaganBaby.com. That is the website of the day. Go to it. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at theDove TV. Did you know that when you support theDove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Okay, we're back, and what a delight to have back with us today Megan Barth. She's the founder and the proprietor of ReaganBaby.com. And perhaps you're reading her commentaries and her blog, and we're talking about not only the debate last night, in particular, the Benghazi hearings that have taken place. And within the last few moments, Paul Ryan, representative from Wisconsin, has now been elected Speaker of the House to follow John Boehner, who has not only tendered his resignation as Speaker, but also as a member of Congress. All of this is on the heels, Megan, of the House yesterday moving forward the bill, the budget bill, which is a budget buster. All of the candidates on the stage last night rejected this bill, thought it was just absolutely ridiculous, giving President Obama, between now and the time he leaves office, unlimited spending to a president who governs by executive order. What are we doing to ourselves? Not to mention the fact that it has raised the debt ceiling, and the incoming speaker voted for it. And now you have the Freedom Caucus caught in the crosshairs. Do they compromise and vote for the speaker? What do they do? So what is your take on this mess within the last 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, it is a mess. And Washington, D.C., specifically the Republican Party, has been a mess for quite some time. And this is why you see a rise in the outsiders. You see a rise in Cruz. You see a rise in Trump. You see a rise in Carson, even Fiorina. People are looking outside the Beltway for leadership because the current problems that we have are not only in the lap of Barack Obama, but also the weakness that the GOP leadership has demonstrated, specifically after we gave them the largest congressional majority in 2014 to stop Obama and his policies. They haven't done it. When Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid come out and Steny Hoyer and think that Paul Ryan is a great choice and are championing Paul Ryan, I don't cheer for the same things that those three cheer for. I've never been in line with Harry Reid, Steny Hoyer, and Nancy Pelosi. So that gave me pause. Yet there are a lot of conservatives that I respect and read that say, well, if we have to change horses midstream, let's do so with a young guy who's a budget hawk that can at least get things done in the interim. Who else was up for the speakership position? There was Webster, but there was no traction. We still have a DC, a congressional Republican Party that still needs some cleaning out. And so I think that the American people will continue to do so in the upcoming election and start to put someone in the role of leadership who will encourage like-minded people within the Republican Party to rise to the top. Paul Ryan right now is a Band-Aid to stop the hemorrhaging, yet the budget continues the hemorrhaging.
Well, I don't know why. I mean, it's been said maybe I had to reach out and got Newt to come back. Huckabee came up as a suggestion because he obviously can get along with the opposite side but still move the ball forward. But the system just wouldn't allow that. So here we are. We really haven't gained much. But I guess the other thing is, has the Freedom Caucus lost their punch now because they voted for him? Isn't that a compromise?
Well, yeah, and I think that's why you saw Tom McClintock about 3 weeks ago leave the Freedom Caucus. You know, Tom McClintock is a senator from California, and I lived in California for 20 years. I voted for him for governor of California at the time when the National Republican Party and the State Republican Party got behind Arnold Schwarzenegger. So there is a principled statesman and politician by the name of Tom McClintock who had had enough with the Freedom Caucus. And the Freedom Caucus could learn a thing or two from Tom McClintock. And if they're listening to the frustration of the GOP voters and the GOP base and watching the outsiders rise, perhaps they will start paying attention and really go back to the principles by which the Freedom Caucus was founded.
Megan, I know you got to scoot here shortly, but let me ask you this. Coming out of the debate last night, it inevitably is going to narrow the field. I don't know how some of these people can stay in it. It just costs too much to stay in it. I think one of the sad things to watch is the fall of Bush, and not that I'm for him, it's just that it's just sad to watch. Who do you think will end up standing next? I mean, this thing's going to narrow out pretty fast. Or we have to get through Iowa before we see any thinning out?
Yeah, I think so. And I think what we aren't going to see anymore is a happy hour debate. I think what we are going to do is just have a primary debate. So I think we can be pretty assured that the happy hour debate contenders will be a thing of the past come the next debate. I also think that the wherewithal and the staying power is not behind Bush, is not behind Rand Paul, and I would say is not behind Kasich. I couldn't believe Bush last night, and I certainly couldn't believe Kasich either. Kasich opens up with firing across the bow at Trump. What is he doing? And then Bush follows up with firing across the bow at Rubio.
It was ridiculous.
And Rubio put him in his place, like the young senator should, saying someone obviously told you that insulting me or going after me was going to help you, and it definitely hurt him. He looked desperate. He looked petulant, and he certainly didn't connect with the audience, whether it be in Boulder or in the televised audience.
I will say this: Ted Cruz on an interview after the debate last night said something that was kind of interesting, and I'm thinking, why can't we do this? Let the liberals interview the liberals, let the conservatives interview the conservatives. What if we had a debate where you actually had a Sean Hannity and a Mark Levin and a Rush Limbaugh as the moderators? Why can't we do that?
Yeah, that should be a question for Reince Priebus.
Didn't he kind of throw the candidates under the bus last night?
Yeah. Now, I did not realize, I honestly thought, and I saw Reince Priebus's secondhand communications guy, I don't recall his name, saying that because it was CNBC, he thought it was going to be more of a financial economics debate. And quite frankly, I did too. You know, especially with Rick Santelli. I mean, how many moderators were there last night? 7? I mean, I thought there were going to be 3, and then all of a sudden, you know, someone else pops their head up. It was a mishmash, and it was a circus on their side.
Well, I got to tell you, there was one thing very scary that didn't happen last night, and I am really upset that they didn't talk about it. But they didn't talk about terrorism at all. It just wasn't on the table, and I thought, my stars. Listen, I know you have to go. Thank you. We value your time. Let's hook up again and often. You're a delight.
Oh, thank you, Perry. I look forward to coming back.
All right, see you later. Okay, again, the website to connect with Megan is ReaganBaby.com. We'll be right back.